Yes, over to you, Manori. You can start.
Kosala, you may start now.
Good evening, everybody. Venerable Mahasangha, Patron, Venerable Jnanasiya, Sir, Venerable Bhikkhunis, dear Chairman, Professor Manori Senanayake, dear Dhamma friends. Thank you very much, Professor Manori Senanayake, dear Madam, for giving a kind introduction about me. And today we have got a very important topic to discuss. The topic is seeing the reality through Satipattana. I will deliver my talk in 3 steps. Firstly, how and why a Putujjana does not see the reality. As a second step, how does Satipattana help us in seeing the reality? Thirdly, if time permits, as the third step, the status of an Arahant who has already seen the reality and already in reality. Let's take the first one. How and why a Putujjana does not see the reality. A Putujjana is an ordinary worldling who is with the full complement of defilements within him. He inhabits the world, he interacts with the world, having the defilements within him. His behavior is influenced by the defilements. These defilements influence him heavily in his behavior, in his perception, in his thought construction, in his execution of verbal and physical actions. The deluded way of perception of Putujjana is amply described in the Mula Pariyaya Sutta of Majjhima Nikaya, that is Majjhima Nikaya 1. I'm not going to discuss anything much about that sutta, but it's a good sutta to go through by anybody who is practicing Buddhism. During all wakeful hours, we Putujjanas perceive the world. We construct thoughts accordingly. We execute verbally and physically during all wakeful moments. Now, when a Putujjana perceives, constructs thoughts, and execute verbally and physically, he constructs a person within him. He is of the strongest opinion that he is a person who is doing all this. A person perceiving the world with his 6 sense bases. A person called I myself. A person seeing the world. A person hearing the world. A person smelling the world. A person tasting the world. A person touching the world. A person cognizing the world. So this is the nature of the Putujjana. And a person who is thinking, a person who is constructing thoughts, and a person who is executing verbally and physically. Now, this is a delusion. This delusion cannot be overcome by the Puthujjana because it had been the long sansaric practice of his. That is one reason, but I'll come to the root cause. Now, when he brings up a personality within him, a person will develop likes and dislikes. He will have the favorable perceptions and unfavorable perceptions. He would like to do something, certain things, and he would not like to do certain things. Now, this difference is not found in noble ones. Now, the personality creation has caused him to think in that manner. Likes are there, dislikes are there. Things that he would like to think about and go down the stream, there are things that he refuses to think about. That is all because of this deluded person within him. Now, when that happens, he expects the world around him to be a sukha world because he's a person who has likes and dislikes. So when he expects a sukha world, he is always going away from the dukkha concept. He has no room to think of dukkha. We are talking about the ordinary Puthujjana. And he is expecting a sukha world outside which will benefit him. As well, he is expecting the things that are of his liking to persist and be there permanently. Whenever he thinks of that, he deviates and drifts away from the anicca concept. He doesn't want the world to change in a bad way. So now, and he feels that there is good substance, a concept of value in the world, which will benefit and keep him going. And an existing world, every moment he pursues. Every moment he works, he is deluded that he is working with the existing true world. So this way, he doesn't see the anicca, dukkha and anatta in his normal day-to-day life. So he is deluded. Now we have to see why is it happening like that? Is it because he is perceiving the world? Is it because he is thinking and constructing thoughts? Is it because he is executing his verbal and physical action? Is it the cause? Is it the reason? No. Even a noble being, an arahant, will perceive the world. Even a noble being, arahant, will think and do whatever he has to do. A noble being, arahant, will execute certain physical and verbal actions. So then it can't be the mere perception, mere thought construction, or mere execution that is at fault. Then what is at fault? What is the root cause for the Puthujjana to be different from an arahant? There is a huge difference, but what is the root cause? The root cause is the uneliminated defilements. nothing else. He is deluded because he is with the moha defilement, moha mula. He doesn't see the reality. It's being clouded because of the moha defilements. I'm going through the main ones. And he gets attached to whatever he likes. He clings on to whatever he likes. That is the interaction he shows for the favorites, favorables. That is because of the lobha defilements within him. In many ways and many angles, lobha can appear. And the things that he doesn't like, he refuses. This is all through moha. And he refuses, he rejects, he wants to go away from them, and he gets angry. That is because of the dosa defilement. So now we can see, including those three, there are so many defilements that are governing the mind and the mental aspect of a Putujjana. So now, Dhamma friends, then the task of the Putujjana, who is a Kalyana Putujjana, who had heard Dhamma, who had heard of the Arya people, who had heard the good Dhamma, who want to get rid of this mess, to see the reality, what they have to do is to eliminate the defilements, in simple words. Until they eliminate the defilements, they cannot properly see the reality. They can think of the reality, they can hear the reality, but he can't vividly see the reality with bhavaname jnana. So to do that, he has to eliminate the defilements. Eliminating the defilements will bring you to a state that you are in the reality. So once you have eliminated the defilements, you are in a state of reality. You are seeing, you are always living in reality by default. You have nothing to make a big effort. But to see the reality, to eliminate the defilements, you have to see the reality. Now, this is a reciprocal thing. For you to be in reality, you should have had eliminated the reality, defilement, earlier. But now for us to see the reality, we have to work hard. Defilements can be eliminated only by seeing the reality. Now that is the point. Only when a person sees the reality that the end of that his whole samsara. To come to that point, that is to the point where you see the reality and eliminate the defilements. When you see the reality, automatically with your hard work, automatically your panya and samma ditti will dawn and the defilements will be eliminated. So to fill in the gap, there must be a path. Now we are very raw, rough individuals as Putujjanas, maybe Kalyana Putujjanas, but still with our defilement. So now we have to mature into a level where all our factors of enlightenment mature to the maximum level, a given point of time. So for that to happen, from our present level to that level, to the fully matured level, we have to practice. We have to practice. We have to practice the relevant meditation, the relevant path. Whichever the path we have prescribed, Buddha has prescribed, we have to follow. Then only we will gradually and surely bring to maturity all the enlightenment factors. They come to the full maturity at one point of time. That is the time the defilements get eliminated. So now, Dhamma friends, that is why we are talking on Satipattana today. So Satipattana is a path, a way Buddha has prescribed for us to come to that maturity to see the reality. When we mature, we see the reality. By seeing the reality only, we eliminate the defilement. So Satara Satipattana meditation is a way Buddha has prescribed, is a sure and a direct way. Ekayano ayam bhikkhave, for an individual to develop up to the maturity level to eliminate the defilements or to see the reality. So Buddha, according to Samma Sambuddha, Satipattana, Satara Satipattana is a sure way and a direct way to see the reality. When you see the reality, you eliminate the defilement. I am over and over again, I am emphasizing that point. So now this Satara Satipattana meditation is the 4 foundations of mindful meditation. So it is full of mindfulness. Now this 4 foundations of meditation is Vipassana meditation. Vipassana meditation. Not that Samatha is condemned here. Samatha becomes very useful for your training on concentration. But this is, we consider a Vipassana meditation. In this meditation, or any other meditation for that matter, there are meditation objects for the meditator to meditate on. Any meditation, Samatha or Vipassana, the meditation is practiced on meditation objects. So there must be an object for the meditator to meditate on. Likewise, in the Satara Satipattana meditation, there are meditation objects prescribed by the Buddha. There is a very big significance, very important significance about the meditation objects of Satara Satipattana meditation that I have to tell you right at the beginning. It's a very important thing, very important concept. All these meditation objects for Satara Satipattana meditation are found within the individual who is meditating. These meditation objects, there can be so many, of Satipattana meditation, are meditation objects which are already found in the person, so-called compact person whom you believe in. They are components of that person. What is the significance here? Now, meditator is deluded with a person, a compact person with ganasanya, because he takes the person as a whole. He doesn't see any components. So now this very person finds the components of his as the objects. So right from the beginning, Buddha divides the individual, so-called person, into pieces, into meditation objects. So this act of dividing the person into components is with the idea of disproving the personality. So that is the very first thing that we have to understand. So it's an inward meditation. Just not to go into the world and think of things of the world, but the inner world. Look at what you are. Starting from the surface, he takes you down to the very microscopic view, today's terms, of what that object you took was. You take an object from your person and go into deep meditation to see whether there is any substance in the object you started from, whether there is any permanence in what the object you started from, whether there is a personality, whether there is a person that you took and meditated on. So in this division, the first step is to divide the person into four. The physical body or the kaya for kaya-anupassana meditation. Feelings or the vedana for the vedana-anupassana meditation. Mind or the chitta for the chitta-anupassana meditation. Thoughts and thought processes and volitions for the Dhamma-anupassana meditation. Dhamma. So these four components are further divided into tiny little objects. From any of those, you can take one and meditate on. Now, say for example, if you take the physical body, breath is one tiny little thing of the body, physical body. So you can take that breath meditation and go down to the level of seeing the reality. That's what Buddha says. So now, let's take the example of the breath meditation, because I can't go through all the Satipattana here. If I am to do a clear talk, I have to take one and describe that one, because there is a common theme in the Satipattana. That is what we are going to highlight. Now, if you take the breath meditation, if you take the breath as the meditation object, the meditator is meditating on his own breath, the in-breath and out-breath. Now, all of us know this simple thing. Even a little while ago, we attended to them and did it. Now, this in-breath and out-breath, you start as your breath with the ownership. You are concentrating on your breath. So, still you are not in a developed state. You start breathing and looking at the breath carefully with full mindfulness, the way the breath is cycling, in breath and the out breath. So this beginning is a training for the individual. the beginning of the Satipattana breath meditation is a training. So he is very carefully being mindful on the breath. As he goes along with the gross breath, this Kaya Sankara ridden breath, he comes to a certain level where he is very clear about the in-breath and clear about the out-breath. Still he is in the breath. Still he is in his breath. So he sees the breath, in-breath very well and the out-breath very well. So you are very sharp now, becoming sharper than earlier. You become more and more concentrated in the breath. Now, as you go down, then you come to a level, I will not come out with the Pali words mostly, that you see the whole cycle of breath very clearly. Starting the in-breath, going up to the end, turning point, down breath starting, out breath ending, turning. So you are on that and only on that. So you come to a, but you are still gross and you are still rough. But you see the breath very, very careful, very, very well the whole cycle. You are aware of the full cycle without drifting away from the object. Now, when you come to this, you have come to learn that there is a breath cycling all the time. And then when you are on that total breath cycle only, what happens is your other Kaya Sankara diminishes. It's said in Satipattana towards the end, your idea about the body and the breath is part of the body, that idea fades away from you. So you see the complete breath body. While seeing the complete breath body, you completely give away and you become very light all the Kaya Sankara of the rest of the body. So you are now dealing with the breath. And this breath is the only thing that you are having. That is the idea you get. At the moment of that sharp meditation achievement, you see a breath only, the object only that you have taken. But you don't see the other parts of your body and the Sankhara, Kaya Sankhara of those. So you are quite settled and calm. Now in that, you will see this is my breath cycling over and over again. So that is the Ajjatta breath. When you see the Ajjatta breath, you will see indirectly the Bahijja breath, the outside breath. That is an indirect achievement of your wisdom. That is, when you see the Ajjatta, naturally there is a Bahijja. So you attribute by looking at the breath of yours that you have a Ajjatta, and the Bahijja breath is also like this. You come to a universal statement in your mind. Since the Ajjatta breath is like this, the Bahijja breath is also like that. That's an indirect achievement. So you see the Ajjatta and Bahijja breath cycle as a universal thing. You then take together only the breath as a universal happening. When you see the universal happening of a breath, now you are not talking of a person. You are talking of a universal breath. So you don't see a difference. Now, when this happens, he sees the Udaya and Vaya very clearly. Now, these are not this simple breathing exercise of ours as Satipattana. These are when you have gone to the deep end, you start seeing the Udaya Vaya very clearly. The breath taking place, starting, falling. Now, this Udaya Vaya is not the whole cycle, but every tiny little part of the cycle of the breath, you see the Udaya and Vaya. You need not have a long breath to go through and see the Udaya and Vaya. Every tiny little part of the in-breath and the out-breath, you see the Udaya and Vaya. So you see the origin and cessation, origin and cessation, origin and cessation. Now in the Satipattana Sutta, it is described up to that level. In the Satipattana Sutta, it is described up to that level. So we have to see whether there is anything beyond. Buddha has said that he will clearly see the Udaya and Vaya, Udaya and Vaya in the breath. It is not your breath, others' breath. It is a universal breath, Ajjatta Vaidya, all together. But it's a breath, not a person. So he starts seeing the anicca nature of the breath by seeing this rapidly changing Udaya and Vaya. Then his breath settles down. Now the breath was prominently seen. The breath was prominently seen by him. But he didn't see a person who is breathing at this level. He sees the breath very clearly. He sees the breath cycle very clearly as the breath. But then the wonderful thing that happens is the breath starts settling down. Passambayam kaya sankara. And breath becomes very, very subtle that you don't identify a breath. But still you see the Udaya and Vaya. So it will go into a phenomenon of Udaya and Vaya that you see, but not the breath. So when you come, that is beyond what is described in the Satipattana Sutta. Satipattana Sutta, when it is ending, at the breath, you will see your breath falling and rising. There is a statement underneath. Now, this achievement of the individual, Atti Kayati, Kayo, I can't remember the exact thing. That statement says, he will stay in the breath, seeing the Udaya and Vaya. Stay in the breath. This will give him the opportunity, in our words, right, for him to develop the further jnana from there. It uses the last statement there is that the individual now will see the breath as a phenomenon. He doesn't see it as the breath now. It's a phenomenon. He sees the breath, but Udaya and Vaya, the breath is very clearly seen. Later only that he settles the breath to a very, very subtle level that he starts seeing the Udaya and Vaya. Now, when he sees the Udaya and Vaya at this level, in the Satipattana it is said that this will help in him in the future for the development of further knowledge and wisdom. So now the Satipattana leads you to that level where he sees the Udaya and Vaya very carefully, and Udaya and Vaya phenomenon will develop to a very high level, and he will start seeing the Udaya and Vaya at a high level as a phenomenon. So it's a universal phenomenon that you come to at the end of this session of meditation, which may take days, may take hours, it may take years, but you have to come to that level. Then when you come to that level, that is called the Udayabhya Jnana. So you develop a jnana called Udayabhya Jnana, which is not mentioned in words in the Satipattana Sutta. Because you have to go furthermore. Now this is the level you came through Satipattana. Satipattana helped you to come to this level. And you have to go furthermore. Then as you see the Udaya and Vaya, you get the concept of anicca. You see everything that rises will fall. And you get the idea that there is no substance in sankhara. Now he doesn't call it, he doesn't see it as breath, he sees that as a sankhara. And he sees no substance in it. And he sees not satisfied with what he sees. It's very unsatisfactory. Dukkha. And as he goes on, he will start seeing the bhanga or the cessation more than the origin. So then you get the bhanganudarshana jnana. So that is a jnana where you see the rapid cessation of the sankhara. Then he gets a kind of fear. That fear is actually not a fear, it's a jnana. He gets disappointed. He gets a kind of unsettled to see this all sankhara vanishing away. This vanishing away of sankhara gives him a kind of Satipattana. He gets the feeling that this is not what I thought. And then he sees, then he goes into a level where he sees this and he gets the urge to get rid of this. That is called Nibbida. So likewise, from that end point of the Satipattana Sutra description, he will develop the jnanas until he get the Vimukti jnana. One by one, he will develop. So what I wanted to highlight here today is, in Satipattana, you select an object to disprove that you are a person. And through that process of meditation, you come to a situation where you don't see a person in the object, but you see a phenomenon world, phenomenon, rise and fall, nature of a phenomenon. And on that phenomenon, you understand that there is nothing that is, but this is an understanding by seeing. This is the wisdom you develop by meditation, not what you think. You can't think before you see this. So when you see, you understand that there is no substance to be taken. I can't claim this is mine because this is not something, even the moment it rises, it falls. So at least you don't have time to claim that it is mine. So he sees that very clearly and he gets the urge to get rid of this, and he further meditates on this phenomenon, anicca dukkha anatta aspect, and then he liberates ultimately. I didn't take you to that level, but Satipattana helps you to do that. That is what I wanted to show you. You start with the gross breath, you come down to the breath cycle, leaving the body and the ownership, and then come to a very subtle situation where you see this phenomenon of rise and fall only. Now, from there onwards, you develop the jnana. Now, just a word or two about the status of an arahant who has already seen the reality. Now, Arahant or a noble one is a being without any defilement within him. He has eliminated all the defilements. Because he has eliminated all defilements, having the lobha, moha, those are all eliminated, he becomes a very free individual. Why do you call him a free individual? Because he can inhabit the world freely. So what is the problem? We are also inhabiting the world freely. No, we are not free when we inhabit. When we inhabit, we get attached. We get angry. We get deluded. So all that is signs of not being free. You are not free because your mind is always bothering you. Your mind is always getting attached and gets involved in one word, gets involved with the world. But Arahant is very free because he doesn't get involved. He doesn't get involved because he doesn't have any kilesa. He doesn't have any defilements. Defilements should be there for the person to get involved. So without involving with the world, he perceives. He perceives in seeing, he sees only seeing in seeing. He will see the world. He will, by default, he is in reality. So he will not see anything other than Paticca Samuppada happening. So he will see something, but he will never construct any thoughts with greed or anger or with defilements because he is free of those. So the main reason why he is free is because he doesn't have defilements. As well, he is fearless. Why is he fearless? The biggest fear we have is what involvement we will have with the world. The biggest fear is that not somebody coming and killing us, but the biggest fear is where and how we will get involved in the world. So he is having no fear because he definitely knows there are no fuel, there is no fuel, there is no defilement for him to get attached or angry. So he is a fearless individual. The fearless, the true sense of the word is he has no sansaric fear because he is not fooling the sansara by anything. So he can inhabit the world very freely. And the example I would take is, you can't paste a paper on the wall without glue. The Arahant, pardon me for saying this, is like a paper without glue. This paper will never get attached to the wall because there is no glue. So likewise, the defilements are like glue. So Arahant doesn't have that glue inside there. So no attachment, no repellent, no refusal, no rejection, nothing will happen with him. So Dhamma friends, I think I would have done justice to this talk by taking it in 3 steps. The Putujjana, the way through Satipattana to see the reality, as well the Arahant, the state of Arahant, who is always in the reality. And I can remember, Manori, in that interview with Most Venerable Ajahn Braham, you said the best effort is no effort. You asked that question. I listened to that. Actually speaking, best effort is with the Arahant, no effort. He has no effort to get rid of anything. He had done the thing, so he shouldn't exercise any effort to get away from attachment, get away from anger, Because he, by default, he doesn't have those necessary factors for him to get attached and angry. So, Dhamma friends, I think by that note, I will end my talk.